So here we are, Mother's Day. Now, I know that in the garden, God told Eve that I will greatly increase your pain in childbirth. That is supposed to be a curse. How many mothers do we have who have multiple children? Not just one, multiple children. Yeah, why did y'all do that again? When I was younger, of course we had electric fence and stuff, and the older boys would say, hey man, touch that fence, I dare you, you know. And then again they would say, touch that fence. I'm like, what, are you nuts? I mean, come on. I've done that once. It was painful. Why do I want to do that again? My mother had 5. And a lot of women talk about the hours they spend in labor and the pain and all this stuff. And I asked my mom, I was little. I said, Mom, was it hard when you had me? She said, honey, you were number 5. You slid out like grease. I was the smallest as well. And I came after 2 9-pound kids. So, here we are on Mother's Day. Most people look at mothers and think, how wonderful it is. And they don't think about the sacrifice moms have to put up with. I know my mother spent lots of sleepless nights. I mean, heck, when I became a teenager, she really spent some sleepless nights. When I became a grown man, I joined the Army. I went to war. My mother spent lots of sleepless nights. And I remember calling them and telling them. You couldn't exactly just blurt out, hey Mom, I'm going to war. I called Mom, and my dad and Mom, and Dad was on the phone. I said, listen, you're not going to be able to talk to me for a while. I'm not going to be around. But I will contact you as soon as I can. And my dad said, all right, I know what you're saying. He looked back at Mom, and he said something. And of course, it wasn't but a second Mama picked the other phone up. And I was imagining my mother, the fear in her voice. I could hear it, but what was going on? And I remember her words. She said, I know what you're doing, but I want you to remember something. God saved you for a reason. It wasn't to die in some foreign country. He's got plans for you, and you're coming home. Don't worry about it. I did. It was only years later that I realized God has a plan for me. We're going to talk about a mother's sacrifice today in 1 Kings chapter 3, and start in verse 16. 1 Kings chapter 3, verse 16. I invite you all to turn there if you don't mind. Get your iBibles or things like that out. Dial it up. Everybody, 1 Kings 3:16 starts at 16. Everybody knows this story, I'm sure. We were taught this story in school. Well, I was taught this story in school. I don't know what they're teaching now in school. But I guess they're teaching about the wisdom of the Tyrannosaurus that evolved from a monkey. But anyway, did that come through? But I don't want all the people that watch this on YouTube to go, oh, what was he talking about? I said teaching that we evolved from a monkey. All right, anyway. So, here it was. Solomon just became king. He's a boy. He's young. Just became king. 2 prostitutes came to the king and stood before him. One said, my lord, this woman and I live in the same house. I had a baby while she was there. And on the 3rd day after my child was born, she had one also. We were alone, No one else in the house but the two of us. During the night, this woman's son died because she laid on him. How many moms have laid on their kids? Never mind. The woman's son died because she laid on him. So she got up in the middle of the night and took my son from my side while I, her servant, was asleep, put him on her breast, and took her dead son and put it on mine. The next morning I got up to nurse my baby, to nurse my son, and he was dead. But then I looked at him closely in the morning light. I saw that it wasn't my son, the son that I'd born. The other woman said, no, the living one is my son, the dead one is yours. But the first insisted, no, the dead one is yours, the living one is mine. And they argued before the king. The king said, this one says my son is alive and yours is dead. Then the king said, bring me a sword. So they brought him a sword, and the king gave an order. He said, cut the child in half and give one half to one woman and the other half to the other. The woman whose son was alive was filled with compassion and said to the king, no, please, my lord, give her the living baby. Don't kill him. But the other said, neither I nor you will have him. Not even two. Then the king gave his ruling, give the baby to the first woman. Do not kill him. She is his mother. When Israel heard the verdict the king had given, they held the king in awe because they saw that he had been given wisdom from God to administer justice. Now, why would a mom give up her child? She sacrificed her happiness for his life. She was willing to do that. There are stories all over the internet that I've seen about mothers. The one in China where the mother had her body crushed because she was making cradling her baby and shielded him from the stuff that was falling. The baby lived, the mother did not. Mothers who have, what was the one thing said, when a true mother is one who, when sees there are 4 pieces of pie for 5 people, promptly announces that she really don't like pie. Mothers who have died of starvation and their children lived because they gave up their food. You know, mothers sacrifice. How many mothers have we read that have shielded their children from people coming into their house to kill the family, and the mothers shield the babies, protect them? How many times have we gotten hurt and our mother said, I wish I could take that pain. I've said oftentimes that we have a Heavenly Father to show us how a man should be, how a man should run his household, by living from the example of God the Father. You want an example of a mother? Look at his son. Jesus Christ came into the world. He took 12 men, taught them, nurtured them, fed them when they were hungry, made sure they were safe. When he was arrested, he said, take me, leave these others alone. They have no part in this. He protected them. And at the end, he sacrificed himself for everyone, for each child of his. That's what a mother does. She sacrifices herself. She goes through many, many, many nights of not being able to sleep because her back hurts, or she's ill in the mornings. Legs hurt. I don't know all the pains that a woman goes through, thank God. And then she goes through many, many nights of sleepless nights because she's feeding every hour or two. Then she goes through many, many sleepless nights because her child is sick, or her child is hurt, or her child is something. Mother hardly ever gets any sleep. And then they become a teenager. And Mom, don't wait up. I'll be back. How many mothers have gone to sleep after that one? No, they're sitting up, waiting. They sacrifice because they worry about their offspring. And that's not just humans. There are many, many, many mammals or animals or what that do the same thing. They protect their young. Alligators, the meanest dudes on the block, in that mouth that causes so much death and mutilation, shields her brood. They swim into her mouth and she shields them. She protects them. Why? Because that is her children. That is her offspring. That's what God gave her so that she can live on. A mother gives everything. And I read once where it said, you cannot remember mother and forget God. Just like you cannot remember God and forget your mother. Because the two are the same spirit abiding in one person. Christ died on a cross because He wanted us protected from Satan. If you don't believe in me, you will go to hell, period. If you do believe in me, you can have everlasting life. And I'm willing to pay the price so that you can have that. And He did. He gave everything. What did He tell Pilate? No man takes my life, but I'll give it freely. You have no power over me except what is given by God above. And in the Bible it does not say we killed Him. It says when He felt He had suffered sufficiently, He gave up the spirit. Gave. When the multitudes were gathered around Him, and there was only 4 loaves and 3 fishes. I can't remember the numbers exactly. He blessed it. He made sure everyone had plenty to eat. Every time that His disciples needed to do something, He needed to tell them something very important. And then you look in the Bible and find this. When He needed to tell them something important, He made sure their earthly needs were filled. He fed them. Then He could talk to them. I feel sorry for the folks who says that this is it, there is no God. This is as far as it goes. Can you imagine thinking about that? I'm having a child, and this child is nothing but dirt. Oh wait, they do that a lot, don't they? Think about that. I'm having a child, this child's nothing but, just a little bit of dirt and water. And it's no big deal if they die. I mean, they're just going to go in the ground, just like I am. How can you live like that? Look around you. I've lived among women, I mean, not just my wife or my mother or my sisters, among women, godly women, who I see, and it's easy for me because I've lived around them, but I see people who can't understand. Well, you have how many children? Oh, we have 8. Well, how many are yours? How many are your wives? They're all mine and they're all my wives. All right, did I father 8 children? No, 2. Did she give birth to 8 children? No, 1. The rest we kind of gathered up along the way. But they call her mom, they call me dad. When they need their backsides kicked, we give it to them. When they need a hug, we give it to them. Incidentally, we give more hugs than we do kicks in the backside. But the thing is, there is no difference. There's no difference between one child or another. What happens when a mother loses a child? She mourns deeper. I can tell you that last fall broke my wife's heart. We lost so many baby goats. 7 of 8 baby goats were lost. She cried every time. I guess I'm callous. I believe, you have livestock, soon enough you're going to have dead stock. But she bottle fed one of them for several weeks. And it finally died. And she cried. Why? Because they're babies. They need to be nurtured. They need to be cared for. But we got the puppy that was almost dead, 2.5 ounces. That thing did not leave her side until it was strong enough. She was giving it injections of saline under the skin and syringe feeding it. She kept it with her, literally in her shirt, running laps around her waist. She went to grocery stores. She went to their master gardener meetings. When I had my heart cath, she took the stinking thing in the hospital with me. I said, "You're going to get kicked out of here." She says, "They don't know it's here." And as soon as it kind of whimpered or made a noise, she said, "I'll be right back." Went outside, fed it, but it was a diaper bag, okay? She had a stinking diaper bag with hand warmers in it and wrapped in blankets and stuff. And I'm sitting in they're giving me the stuff, the IVs and stuff, and she's sitting right beside me. The nurses are walking around her, and I'm thinking, they're going to kick that bag and the dog's going to whine or something, and they're going to kick your backside out. It never did. Never went to the doctor's office with me after this to talk about park out. And the dog's kind of whimpering in there. Doctor never said a word. I found out later, yeah, he knew about it. He didn't care. She is highly allergic to cats. What happens? A cat gets in our horse bin and has kittens. Our hay bin has kittens. Okay. For those of you who don't understand the danger of that, cat feces carries a disease that if they poop in the hay, the horses eat it, they will. It's ugly. It's an ugly disease. So, cat in our hay bin. As soon as I find out the cat no longer is able to go in our hay bin, I had to toss it over the fence after I shot it. And it's a wild cat. It wasn't one of ours. We don't have any. It was just a wild cat, okay? Everybody's going, "Oh my gosh!" No, listen, this, a wild cat versus a few $1,000s worth of horse, okay? Economically, it was sound. So, there are 4 kittens in the hay bunk. We didn't realize that she had kittens. So, I say, okay, no, this ain't happening. She eats me up. Bring those kittens in the house. Put them in a box, bring them in the garage with the hay that's around them. Now get this, she was allergic to them. She cuts the top out of a trash bag, sticks it over her like a parka, arm slots, puts on palpation gloves, the gloves that go up to your shoulders, puts them on, puts a mask on, and bottle feeds these stinking things every few hours. This was a Friday evening. All through Saturday, all through Sunday, Monday morning, I take them to the vet, say, "Hey, look, these babies and, the mom is no longer around." And, so he took them and took care of them. She would go inside, she would feed the babies, strip all that off and put it in the trash, go inside. outside, take a Benadryl, and slip into a coma for a few hours, and then get back up all groggy, dress back up, and feed them stinking cats again. Why? And was sad when one of them didn't make it. Because she's a mother. She's willing to sacrifice her comfort and live through hives. Cats. Because they're babies. They're babies to be nurtured. They didn't live in her shirt. That was too far. That would have been horrible. But she was willing to sacrifice all this for an animal that's not even hers. Why? That's what mothers do. Think about this. Christ died on the cross for people he never met. For people he has no idea about. Well, of course he did. But he sacrificed himself for people who stuck spears in his side and beat him with flogs and shoved a crown of thorns. He sacrificed himself for people who were mean to him. Why? Because he loved us that much. But Mom, why do you go through all that pain? Why do you sleepless nights, drink water that, you have 3 bottles of cold water and you drink water out of the tap because you want to make sure that the kids have clean, cold water. And I don't know about y'all's water, but I wouldn't drink ours. Why do you go through all this? Why, when there's 4 pieces of pie, don't you just cut them a little smaller? No. Y'all go ahead and eat. You can make a pound of hamburger meat stretch between 20 people. How? Because Mom's going to make sure everybody is taken care of. That's what Christ did. You see the correlation? Christ made sure everyone had everything they needed. Everyone has a way to live. Now, if my wife made sure that there was food on the table and a child never ate it, of their own accord, there's nothing she could do. There is absolutely nothing she could do except mourn the loss of that child. Christ died a horrible death for each one of us. And all we have to do is just accept the gift of salvation. Accept the fact that he did this. If we don't accept it, there's nothing he can do but mourn the loss of his child. Think about that. Mothers, what can you do? Have you given your children everything they need to live forever? Have you given your children what they need to succeed? I'm not talking about succeed in life and in the society that we have today. I'm talking about succeeding for an eternity. Today, God is talking to you and he's saying you need to change your ways because you have people looking at you. You have people that are following you. Are they going to follow you to hell or are they going to follow you to heaven? That's pretty point blank. I don't like to sugarcoat something. Look around you. Are your children following you to hell or are they following you to heaven? It's a simple thing. A simple prayer, accepting the gift that God's given us. And they can follow you to heaven. They can see, hey, wow, Mom, you've changed. Something's different about you. I want to be like that. Yeah, I know teenagers always say, I never want to be like my mother, and they always turn into them, right? I've done the same thing. I've used the same phrases that I told my dad. I'm never saying that to my kids. Oh yeah, I did. Yep. And I heard my kids tell me the same thing, and they're using these same hand-me-down phrases. You don't want to hear this, do you, devil? All right. All right, I'm going to turn up the volume right here. All right. If you're here today and you need to get your life on track with what God wants you to do, if you want to accept that salvation, accept that gift, follow me in a simple prayer. Lord, I know I've done wrong, and I know I'm on the wrong road. Lord, I ask you to come into my life and empty the sin out. Fill me up with your Holy Spirit. Lord, seal it off so that the devil can't get to it. Lord, I believe that Christ died on the cross for my sins. I confess him now as my Savior, because I know that he arose from the dead to conquer that death that he did with you now. And I believe he's coming back. I ask you to walk with me while I'm here on earth, in front of me, behind me. Raise up a hedge around me so that the devil can't get to me. Lord, I pray that you lead me the way you have me to go. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Listen, that's the most important thing that you can do. But I don't know if they announced it. There's one more important thing that we do. On the 7th of June, that's the first Sunday of the next month, there's going to be a baby dedication here. We're going to dedicate 4 children, at least 4, I don't know many more yet,